Welcome to the Future 3 podcast. Boom. I'm Sean,
I'm Shaylin.
And I'm Cyan.
and we are the Future 3 podcast.
Every time you open Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok and see the Houston Rockets doing something that makes you stop scrolling, there is one person behind that moment. Today's guest is the director of social media for the Houston Rockets. Yes, the NBA team, the Houston Rockets. He's been in this industry for 10 seasons, and the Houston Rockets are one of the most followed and most creative sports brands in the NBA. He sits at the intersection of sports, contact, data, and technology, and he has spent a decade turning real-time moments into viral ones. Please welcome to the Future 3 podcast, Mr. Hiren Joshi.
Yeah, welcome.
What's up, guys? That's an amazing intro.
Thank you.
Hey, they always say in social media, the first 3 seconds are everything, right? When you're scrolling through, that's a strong first 3 seconds right there. So I love that. And appreciate you guys having me on. So this is a really cool thing that you guys have put together. And I love that you're, taking the initiative to bring a bunch of great guests to the table, but also just have good sports conversations as well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, we obviously appreciate you taking your time out of your day to have a talk with us.
Of course, man. Anytime. I've been looking forward to it.
So, Mr. Joshi, before we get into all of your journey, I just want to ask you a quick little question because, the Sixers got swept in our own building by the New York Knicks. And honestly, it was insane because the Knicks fans just took over Philly. Let's say hypothetically, you were running the Knicks account when this all happened. What does the post look like after the game and how ruthless do you actually go?
That's a great question. I've been on both sides of this, right? The good and the bad. And it's very different on how you communicate to your fans based on the situation. And what's really important is you really have 2 directions you can go, right? One is knowing the tone and knowing that fans are obviously, if you're the Knicks, they're very excited, right? That they've dominated the series, that it's a sweep. You put the broom emojis, you go all in, right? You want to do some different things that I think will resonate with the fans. But there is a fine line, right, in branded sports where, you only want to go so far, right? You don't want to go too far to the point where you're being completely insulting to the other team. But at the same time, you want to connect with your fans. Like, for example, Drake just dropped 3 albums in one night, right? Like, if you don't kind of lean in on some of that stuff, you do lose an entire fan base that, may not like basketball in any kind of way. But just with that, connection, you may fall into an Explorer feed somewhere where that meme or image, connects the dots between a music fan and a basketball fan. And all of a sudden you've got this potential new fan, right?
Yeah, I hate when the broom emojis come out,
The worst.
especially when it's against your team.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's the worst. But man, we've all been through it.
Yeah, I know. Thankfully, the Knicks fans or the Knicks social media, I should say, wasn't as brutal. But
Yeah.
I think the players were worse than the actual social media was because I remember Josh Hart was like saying, "Oh, I thought Philly was a sports city." Like he was dogging on Philly. It was not good at all.
Yeah, there's some players that honestly like get social so well, and they
Yeah.
know they're like, man, we got a huge voice. We could be funny, we could be really smart, we could be really analytical. Each person is so unique in how they handle that and how funny they want to be. And there's some guys that are just all in on it and they know what they're doing with how their comedic timing works. And then some are like, hey, I'm not even touching that world. That world is a crazy world out there. So
Yeah, and also our audience lives on social media.
Mhm.
So, what is the worst social media post that you've seen from a sports brand?
oh man. Again, I feel like everybody's been in some sort of scenario, and some I think they don't really mean to do. It just happens over time. I don't have like a specific one I want to state necessarily, but there have been some where like the terminology is maybe not the best timing, or they're, not really paying attention to what's going on around the world. One of the things that we do in this industry because of the volume of posts is we use scheduling tools, right? And I'm sure you guys have looked into this at times where you could schedule a post.
Yeah.
You're in school, you're busy, you still want something to potentially go out while you're doing what you need to do. Sometimes you forget like, hey, there's a post that's scheduled and all this stuff happens in real time in life, and this post still goes out. And the last thing you want to do in sports also is like, let's say a player gets traded or
Yeah.
waived and it's
James
their
Harden.
birthday in a week and you have this birthday queued up and it's like,
Mhm.
happy birthday. And it's like, that player's not on your team anymore. Like they're
Nope.
gone. So you don't want to get too far ahead of the game either because the world is changing so fast. So I would say teams have ran into problems like that as their like some of their worst social media posts. And of course you've seen things go viral for, just the wrong reasons, misspellings.
Yeah.
AI is a big conversation right now. People
Yeah.
hate AI. They always call it AI slop. They get really angry when
Yeah.
teams take the easy route, as they say, right? Because there's a lot of talented people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a big one that people are like teams are kind of staying away from right now.
Yeah, has that like happened to you where you posted something wrong or like at the wrong time?
It has not at a point necessarily where it's gone like completely viral for me. There's been like some misspellings here and there. I've done like I'm 11, almost 11 years in. I've done, I don't know how, I've lost count. I've probably done over 50,
Mhm.
60,000 social media posts in my
Wow.
career.
That's a lot.
Uh, yeah, we average like over 9 to 10,000 a season, just as a whole through Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and TikTok and Threads and Facebook. Every major platform. Basketball moves at such a rapid pace that you're going to throw out a lot of highlights. It's all about highlights. So we rack up those posts really fast. We have had former people who have done some stuff that have gotten them in hot water and things like that. But yeah, you got to be careful. So you got to think before you say something, and you got to think before you hit send as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and going back to the posts, you said you do 9 to 10,000 posts a season, right? How many people do you have on your team to make it that quickly? Because usually for the Sixers, after the final score, like 2 minutes later, I see the post. How do you guys do that?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, man. I'll give you a little rundown on how we do this. And I've got 3 full timers on my team right now that take the brunt of this. This is stuff that I used to do, 5+ years ago. So when I first started, I was very hands on. I was, doing photography, doing everything. And the team that I was covering was the James Harden team. So that was the
Wow.
stretch
Great
for me.
name.
Yeah, it was a great team, man. We went with Chris Paul at one point. We had Russell Westbrook. And we just kept adding players and going for the championship, right? The furthest I've gotten is the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, and then they
Yeah.
took us down.
Yeah.
And obviously, that's one of the greatest dynasty-driven teams. I mean, Steph is still playing, James is still playing. Like that tells you everything you need to know about those two guys, right? And how disciplined they are about trying to play as long as they possibly can. Obviously, LeBron at 41, Kevin Durant here in Houston now. I got to run with that team, and the process there would be very hands-on. I traveled with the team for 4+ years as well. So I've been to Philly, great crowd, one of the toughest places to play. But those fans out there in Philly, they're no joke. They are one of the best fan bases out there, I think.
They're rowdy.
So that was really fun, and that process, it sort of starts with right in the morning. We have something called a shoot around on game days. And early in the morning, they start shooting around. So we'll cover that. And then we'll have a little bit of a breather up until the walk ins. And you see the social team will shoot the walk ins of the guys coming in with their
Yeah.
fits.
Yep.
A big part of social is what they're wearing. It's the lifestyle and the culture off the court. And then from there, we'll get into the pregame process where we're doing photography. We've got a video production team that shoots some video as well. That'll ship it over to us in real time. And then from that point on, once the game actually starts, that's when the real work really starts going into high gear. And on Twitter, we'll average like 5 or 6 tweets a quarter. So if you multiply that by 4, you're pushing 20, sometimes 25. If the game is really good, you're pushing 30+ tweets a night on one game, right? So, and all that's done in real time. So it's a lot of in-house stuff, and it's a lot of us doing the work. But then it's also a lot of technology that we're able to use that has like a star system that tells you it's a 5-star play versus a 3-star play. You can break it down by dunks, 3-pointers, 2-pointers, steals, layups, all the things, and you can edit everything within the platform, and it spits out a finished product, basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now obviously you're very heavily involved in sports as your literal job is right now. So, back in high school, did you actually play sports growing up?
I did, man. It was basketball, like through and through, right? And I am 5'5", so this was a problem. Like I did not grow, man. Like I stopped. I stunted at that 5'5" growth. So I played a lot in high school. I played basketball. Nothing crazy. I was a good shooter. That was the extent of it for me. So basketball was my thing. The Rockets were my team. I'm a local Houstonian. I graduated from the University of Houston. I went to a high school here in the greater like Houston area and the suburbs. So this is for me, it's very rare that you come across people in the industry that are actually covering their home team, but like there's nothing like covering your home team. You know it like the back of your hand. It comes very natural for me, right? So I covered the UH Cougars a little bit basketball back in college.
Yep.
My mom has done a local radio show for 30 plus years here in Houston. So I really grew up around the media space. But I didn't get the job right off the bat. I'll just let you guys know, like,
Yeah.
I worked other jobs, out of college. Like this was my dream. So there wasn't just a clear pathway. So like for the three of you too, right? Like whatever it is you want to do and whatever you decide to do as you grow up, like you'll do it at some point, but be patient, take the steps. You already, just by doing this, I mean, the amount of connections you're making and the conversations you're creating are going to lead you to the path of wherever you want to go. So it just takes a little bit of time though.
Yeah, I mean, definitely noted. But you graduated high school in 2006, which was when MySpace was still the big thing out there. Social media wasn't even really considered an industry at the time, right? So, I mean, how did you actually learn the craft of being in the social media space? Was it all boots on the ground, kind of figuring it out as new platforms were created and kind of developed?
Yeah, yeah, man, you're showing my age on that one, man. Yeah,
MySpace.
it was basically that. Yeah, it was so the way I got this job, right? It's a somewhat of a unique story, but I think it's a way to get what you want in the digital space and what I was doing at the time. So Twitter was relatively active as I was going into college. So that was sort of the wave of the future, right? And a lot of people were like, "Wow, this is a crazy platform. This is all real time." So I started live tweeting essentially Rockets games from my personal account. And I kept doing it. I kept doing it. Like I would watch the games anyway, right? While going to school. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I see some teams doing this, but they don't necessarily like they aren't doing it at a crazy capacity or anything. I would just operate like this job that I essentially got, right? And all of a sudden I started building a really good Houston local following. I had all these like local basketball fans that were following my account for kind of like how you see on YouTube now when guys, they do shorts and they make all these cool clips. Like,
Mhm.
so I was doing that on Twitter, and we had another platform called Vine, and it was this old platform. It would loop a play every 6 seconds, and it was like looped in with Twitter. So I would take the highlight and I'd start looping the play, and that was starting to do like really well. And then I get this DM from the Rockets. They DM me
Oh,
on
wow.
my personal account,
Nice.
and they're like, "Hey, you're one of our like favorite fans out there. You're doing a great job." And at the same time, I was going to college for broadcast journalism. So I knew the rules of supporting the team too. Like I wasn't hating on the team. I tried to keep it consistent. I was just trying to be factual. So they reached out and they were like, "Hey, can we, we'd love to meet you." Started coming to a few games. They hooked me up with some tickets. They were very, very nice. And then all of a sudden the space kept growing. And about like a year later, I get this message saying, "Hey, we're looking to create some jobs around this here, and we think you're the perfect guy to start with." So I actually didn't start with social. I started with email marketing was my foot in the door. I was coding some emails for the team, and it would be like, tonight's game. It'd be stats and game notes and stuff, and then that was my day job. And then at nighttime, I would do social. I would be like the helper on social with my boss that I was reporting to. And then from there, never looked back, became social full time. And so I got the job through Twitter. That's literally how I got my job.
That's
That's
crazy. That
amazing.
just shows you the power of social media right there. It literally helped you get a job in social media.
100%. That's why I always tell everybody, like, your digital footprint is so important. Like what you say and do on the internet. Like I know a lot of people think it's just a joke and like you're not going to like have historical context or archive, but somebody will find that tweet or that post you made 10 years later.
Yeah, and growing up in high school, media was clearly becoming a big thing. So back then, were you doing anything trying to get close to the sports world? Because I know you said your mom worked in the media industry. Like, were you shooting for school papers, filming games, or just doing anything to kind of get your foot into the media world?
100%. Yeah. Whatever I could get my hands on. Right. So if I could be rolling up cable wire at a bowl game that came to U of H because we had Case Keenum at the time, he was the
Mm.
quarterback. So we
Oh,
had a few bowl games that came through. We had like Lee Corso come through for college game day when I was there. I was just holding wires. I was just interning where I could. Because again, it's just like what you guys are doing. It's just making that connection, right? That was the most important thing. So anytime I could get into Hoffines at the time, now it's the Fertitta Center, but it was Hoffines Pavilion. The basketball team was not good, man, when I was at U of H, like not good at all. Now we're always in the Elite Eight, but I did get the good side of the football world when I was there. So that was really cool. So I did anything and everything that I could get my hands on, basically. I also thought I was going to be in like news broadcasting because in broadcast journalism, you go through like the switcher board, you go through like how the broadcast goes. So at the time, like social wasn't popping off the way it is obviously now. So I wasn't really sure where I was going to end up. So I figured like, hey, I wonder if I'll do like news, or I wonder if I'll be on some sort of like, work for a news station somewhere or do something because that was the very like normal thing to do at the time. But luckily it evolved into this digital space, and it was the wave of the future versus the wave of a little bit more of the past that we've been doing.
They could have used you on the basketball team with your 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey man, I could have made some shots. That was a rough go on the basketball side. I was like, but once I started traveling with the Rockets, like one of my favorite things to do was go to these arenas, right? Because like I'd go in before the doors were open and the fans were in there, and you'd get on the court and shoot some shots, and it's like it's so surreal to be doing it just as a basketball fan. Like that's the same court that LeBron's shooting on and Steph is shooting on, and
Yep.
and that's really the fun part about the job is I try to remind myself that while it is a job, it's such a unique opportunity, and not everybody gets to do it.
So you went to the University of Houston and you got your bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism and consumer merchandising. When did it go from just your interest of sports media to something you were actually building towards?
Yeah, that's a good question. It took some time, honestly. Like right after school, it was not like an instantaneous thing. Luckily, like I said, I had this stuff going on sort of the side when I was just like freelancing my social posts. I wrote for Bleacher Report for a little while,
Uh,
which was really cool. And this was before social. Like they only had a website. They didn't have Instagram and they didn't have anything like that. So I'm over here just writing old school articles for Bleacher Report. So that was really cool before they became like a big time outlet that all of you now use to get your highlights and things like that. So things like that in the background was when it was starting to like connect some dots here and there. I would do some like random radio shows where I'd be able to get on as a guest and just talk as like a fan. Um, I'd go to events that were being hosted by like fan events and make sure that I was around some of the fans because they knew me through Twitter. There was some things around here and there that you do, but it wasn't like Facebook Live, Instagram Live, podcasts. There wasn't really that world out there. So you'd physically, old school, go to the person, shake their hand, and be like, "Yeah, that's me, and nice to meet you," And now we can do it like this instead, right? So the dots were clicking early, but getting a full-time job and things around that took a lot of patience and some frustration as well.
Yeah, and obviously, getting all those followers on social media didn't just happen overnight. Like, how long do you think that took you to get such a big following on social media, which eventually led to the Rockets reaching out to you?
Yeah, I mean, over 3-4 years of just starting in high school and then going all the way through college and just kind of building and building and like watching the games, committing the time in between all your studies and schoolwork and all the important things you still got to obviously get done before you get to have like the fun part about it. So yeah, just years really. And it just kept chipping away and chipping away.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see James Harden step back in person. That
Yeah,
looks that looks so cool.
it's crazy. And the amount of practice he puts into it, you can
yeah.
only imagine. He's done it like a million times, right? So even at shoot arounds and practices, it's just like a repetition. You miss one, you shoot another 10. You miss another one, you shoot another 20. Like just you never stop, right? So it's crazy. It's crazy dedication.
Yeah, and is that kind of how you view social media too? Like how you stay consistent with these social media posts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that rule applies in life in general, right? Like in anything that you do, I think just, the more you do it, the better you get at it and the smarter you get at it. Like the first year I started doing this versus the 11th year that I'm going into now, the amount of knowledge that I can share versus obviously that first year or even that third year or even the fifth year is like literally, right? uh, Significantly more knowledge about the business, the back end of the business. The biggest part of my job now is metrics and seeing what works versus what doesn't work. The thing about social is it's a short lifespan of age too. Like I'm an old guy in this space now. Like I used to be a young person in this space, but now I'm overviewing and overlooking things because of my knowledge that I have that I can provide to the younger crew that I have and tell them, hey, look, based on these things that I've learned over the last 10 years, I think this could work.
So, did your major in college prepare you for your social media industry, or did you have to fill in those gaps by yourself?
That's a great question. Some of it did, I would say, but a lot of it, because the digital space was at such an infancy phase, a lot of my professors didn't have any clue about what like Twitter was going to be or what, an Instagram would have been. So I think from that capacity, it was cool because I had some professors that were actual reporters. They were working for local news companies. So it was cool. Their day job was their reporting. Their night job was coming to the campus and teaching. So it was cool that I had real time professors that actually like just said, hey, I just got off of work and reported on this news story. Let's practice that story now in the studio and learn about it. So that was really cool to have like on site professors that actually were still in the business. They weren't like retired, they weren't done with all that. They were like very much doing the things that I thought I would end up, ultimately doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's great having the people around you to help push you. And going back to that topic of young people coming in and you kind of overlooking them, what separates the good from the great in this industry?
Great question. The good from the great is really commitment. This is a crazy job with crazy hours. Like this is not a 9 to 5, right? Like these
Mhm.
games don't tip off till 7 p.m. at night, sometimes 8:30 at night. As you guys see, you stay awake to watch these. Like we're working during that time, right? While most people are getting ready to eat dinner and go to bed and wake up the next day for work, like we're just getting started on our day, right? So, a shoot around could start at 10 a.m. and then all the way through you're like prepping content, you're posting for the game, and then you're not done till 10:30, right? Or 10 o'clock. And then if you win, you're not done till midnight because now you're
Mhm.
posting content about your win. So you're not just going to go home. You're going to pour into the win. You're going to really post a bunch of content. So the ones that are willing to sacrifice so much of their time in their life to make social great and to be committed to the team and to really show that, hey, look, we're proud of representing this team. We want to make all the posts. We want to be creative. We want to, make something from scratch. Not just do the bare minimum or take just the basic route. Right? It's like, all right, if we can do a photo swipe on Instagram, for example, can we enhance it by making it animate? Can we get the ball to be on fire? Can we, it's those little things that like you and I can take pictures and post a carousel. Like that's not that like it's not that difficult, right? Like you guys
Yep.
could figure that out and do it. I can do it.
I remember seeing an Eagles post with like a regular sized ball and a regular sized field, and then they just made Jalen Hurts shrink into like this mini figure.
I've seen that, and I think that's so cool. Like that's such a creative Photoshop skill, right? That you can do. And like the NFL schedules just dropped. That's always such a like
Yeah.
huge,
Yep.
moment in social media, right? Because, everybody comes out with crazy videos. The Chargers, I think, did like a Halo video that was like
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they always do something awesome. So schedule release is a big deal for the NFL. So how creative can you get? How much effort are you going to put into it? Really separates you from the rest.
Yeah, and I know for one of the scheduled release videos, the I think the Cardinals did one with AI, and I feel like that's a really hot topic right now. AI is definitely coming for a lot of these creative jobs, and social media is no exception. What would be your advice for someone who wants to work in this space, and what would they need to understand about where AI is heading?
Yeah, that's like the billion or $1 trillion question, right? And across the world and across every industry. And I think AI is really interesting, right? Like to me, I look at AI as extremely valuable because what it's going to do for a lot of people, like this is outside of the sports space, just in general. I think what it's going to do is create a lot of entrepreneurship for a lot of people because these are things that a lot of people don't know, right? So like the capacity of what it brings to the person if they use it responsibly and if they use it correctly could be of great advantage to you, right? Now there's the flip side of people that fight it, that hate it, that think it's going to, completely crush the industry. Certainly some evidence of that as a potential, right? Because a lot of that product can do the things that human beings do, which is definitely a threat. So I think there's a fine line and I hope, the media industry in general realizes that the human connection to when content is created is very different than what a computer is going to make, right? Like it's tough for like creatives, like graphic designers that are in a space where they're getting, a lot of heat from AI graphics being made, and they're trying to, make the ones that they always make from scratch. It takes them hours and hours to do that. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important to keep the human connection alive. But I also think it's smart of all of you guys to use AI to your advantage for information, for setting up success and things like that. Not necessarily to like create something or like take someone's job, but just to like knowledge, use it for knowledge. And then fact check it, of course, but
Yep.
use it for as much knowledge as you can use. So it's really like it's going to be interesting in the next 5 years to really see where we end up with all of that.
Yeah, and you've been in the industry for 10 years. You covered championships, trades, viral moments, and everything in between. So if you had to go back and experience one viral or crazy moment, what would it be and why?
Oh man, that is a good one. Um, there's been a lot of cool moments. I will say I have a few. One of them there was a stretch where James Harden was averaging 30 points a game for like 60 straight games or something crazy. I
Yeah,
can't remember. And we created a campaign around it called the Unguardable Tour. And it was kind of cool. We made like a shirt and it was like a concert t-shirt. And on the back, every date with every score was on it. So,
that's sick.
kind of like a cool concert t-shirt. So that whole like just watching that take place was just insane. And it was such a long stretch of success that like I could never get that out of my head. There was another game in Madison Square Garden. And that's like the mecca of basketball, right?
Mhm.
Like when you go
Yep.
to Madison Square Garden, like you feel it.
Amen.
And you're just sitting there and you're like, man, this building is like it's super old, but it's like in the heart of Midtown Manhattan. And you're walking around and you feel like you're in New York. You feel like you're in the building where John Starks and Patrick Ewing and all these great, players played basketball. And I remember, we got off the bus, we got to the arena right before the game was starting, and when I was traveling, I'd take the pictures of them walking in. And Madison Square Garden has this crazy like hill you have to walk up. It's like it's brutal. It's like
Mhm.
this crazy, crazy like high hill that you got to walk all the way up to get to the service level of the actual locker room and stuff like that. So we're walking up this hill. I went ahead of the players and I got to the other side because I wanted to get some different shots of them walking in. And James Harden walks in, and of course it's New York. It's a national TV game, so good fit. Definitely need a cool photo.
Yeah.
He gives me this great photo, and he's usually not super like he doesn't really change
Mhm.
his smile or he just walks in, right? So gives me this great pic, and he like has this jacket and he goes like this and he just stands, and I get this awesome picture, and I'm like, wow, this is one of the best pictures I think I've ever taken of a player walking in, and it felt good, right? I was like. As soon as I posted it, I was like, this is a banger. Like this is the photo. This is the cover of everything. And it did great. And as the game's progressing, he's like at 20 points in the first quarter. And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
all right, this is the night. Like I got a good picture of this guy walking in. He's feeling good. Something's about to go off. This guy goes off for like 66 points.
Oh my
Jeez.
god.
My God.
In the fourth quarter, I kid you not, every Knicks fan was just like on their feet every time he'd score. They like forgot they were even Knicks fans. They were like, it was the loudest I've ever heard in an arena for an opposing player because the way he was pouring it on was just like, you were just a basketball fan at that point. You weren't like a Rockets fan or a Knicks fan. You were just like, what is going on here? This guy is on a tear. And he just kept going and going. And it's Madison Square Garden. Like, there's no bigger stage to do it. So,
Mhm.
looking back at that moment, like knowing right from the start, I knew as soon as I got the picture, I was like, this is going to be an interesting night. Like there was something about it, and I think athletes will tell you, like, they know sometimes when they're going to be on, like they just know. So that was cool. So we actually did a graphic at the end where it was something like, oh man, I'm trying to think. It was Madison Square Harden instead of Madison Square Garden.
Oh, that's fun.
And it was awesome. It was like, yeah, it said MSH, and then in the background there was the Manhattan skyline, and it was just James Harden dribbling the ball, and we posted it, and it just went viral. It was
That's
crazy.
sick.
So, yeah, so it was a lot of fun that night. Yeah.
That's epic. And so we always ask our guests this one question, and it is, what is your definition of success, and how has that changed from your high school days all the way to today?
Wow, that's an awesome question. I think my definition of success is a lot of people will say money is the most important thing in life, but I disagree with that. I think time is the most important thing in your life because that's one thing you can't control. You don't know how much time you have, and the
Yep.
time that you have, make the best of it. Everything else with it, will come with the time. So I think that's what I would say is looped around success. And in high school, I couldn't have answered that question. There's no way I would have been able to give you that answer. Like, this comes with age and it comes with time, like this knowledge and stuff like this. In high school, I would have been like, I don't know. I just want to make it through. Just make it through college. Just figure it out, and that's okay. You guys have very evolving minds right now. Like, you don't have answers to life questions because you have so much of life you have to still go through. You just you know, and that's okay. You don't. That's the main advice I'd give you.
That's a solid piece of advice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and if I can follow up on that, I definitely want to ask you guys what motivates the three of you, because this is a really cool idea. How did this all come about, and what motivates the three of you guys?
I think what motivates us is kind of helping other people solve an issue because, like, most people our age, especially, just don't know what they want to do. And we feel like that's something that could be solved by just listening to this podcast and kind of just learning the different industries out there, like social media and sports, or being in law, or being in construction. There's so many different things out there. So I think just being able to help people and kind of being the catalyst to their journey in a way is kind of our motivation.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And then what helps you reach goals and stay focused as well? Because that is a hard thing. Like, there's a lot going on in life. There's a lot going on around you guys. You're constantly busy. How do you keep all that together and keep moving forward?
So for me, I just stay focused on the thing I'm doing currently. I just focus on one thing at a time, just take it step by step.
I feel like something for me, or for all of us maybe, that keeps us going with this podcast especially, is the positive interactions we get with others. Like like our guests are always telling us this is so great, this is going to be great for the future. And that's just really what motivates us to keep pushing.
Yeah, I think, like, for me, I feel like I thrive best when I'm faced with adversity. Like, if I'm angry, I know I'm gonna get what I want at the end of it. Like, I'm gonna try as hard as I can, put all my effort in to actually achieve that end goal.
I love that. And I've watched the other guests, and I think the podcast is amazing. Like, I've learned a lot just watching their interviews. And I'm on the YouTube page and everything. So how did it come about?
Yeah, so it really started with, we were having a conversation with their dad, and then he kept asking us, "What do we want to do in our future?" And then we're like, "I don't know, maybe sports." And he was like, "Why? Why? Why?" And we just couldn't even answer because we also didn't have the experience or conversations that we have with our guests to really understand what goes into a career and how much hard work it takes to get there. So, and we're also trying to help our audience more by talking with you guys and posting it on the social media platforms, because that's really where our audience is, and we want to help them as much as possible.
I love that. That's great, guys. I think you're killing it. The guests you've had such good variety on the podcast too. Like you said, you're covering all these different topics. I'm a fan. I'm a subscriber. I'm gonna stick with it.
I love it.
Keep giving us good content. I'll be a fan as long as you guys do it.
Thank you so
Thank
You.
much. It's been an
Absolutely.
awesome conversation with you. We've learned a lot, especially about how insane the social media field is. Because even one mistake, just everyone could see it, especially on as big of a platform as being on the Houston Rockets social media page. So I mean, it's very precise, and I mean, kudos to you for being able to be in this industry for so long and still be doing so well.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. I really do. It's always fun to talk about it. It's a very like interesting space, and a lot of people can't speak the same language because it's such a tight knit group of people. So to be able to put it out there, kind of have you guys understand it as well, maybe it opens up some perspectives for you as well. It's a lot of fun. So I appreciate the time. Have a great weekend, and looking
Yeah.
forward to hearing more guests on the show.
You
Yeah.
guys can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads, and TikTok. Every single social media platform will be there. We are the Future 3 Podcast, and we out.
Peace.
Peace.